All right, welcome back. We're exploring a really fascinating topic today, something that's definitely keeping higher education marketers like you busy. You shared a whole collection of recent sources, articles, research reports, all zeroing in on the fast-paced world of higher education marketing. So let's walk through that material together. Our aim here is pretty simple. Cut through all the noise, pull out those key insights, and maybe highlight some surprising facts that can genuinely help you navigate this space and stay effective.
Yeah, the sources you've gathered really do paint a very comprehensive picture. It shows just how dynamic this field is right now. We're looking at, everything. Foundational shifts in higher ed marketing, really digging into today's students, particularly Gen Z, and then diving into the practical stuff like digital tactics, optimizing search, making CTAs that actually work, using social media effectively. And there's a big focus on specific audiences too, especially a detailed look at international students. It's a lot, but there's some clear direction here.
Okay, let's jump right into that big picture shift then. The sources seem to agree there's a major transformation underway in higher ed marketing. What's driving it?
Well, what's striking is it's not just one single thing. The R&L source points to a convergence of factors.
Yeah.
You've got these significant demographic shifts. The pool of potential students is just different now. Then layer on the incredibly rapid tech advancements changing how everyone communicates. And on top of that, ongoing economic uncertainty. It creates this environment where institutions, they just have to be more agile, more precise in their marketing.
And understanding those demographic shifts, getting a handle on Generation Z seems like a huge piece of the puzzle. They're the main audience now, right?
Oh, absolutely. The sources really hammer this home, understanding Gen Z, those born roughly between 97 and 2012. The HEM source calls them the first true digital natives. And the stats, they really back that up. Think about it. Almost 95% of teens have smartphone access. Over half say they're online almost constantly. For them, digital isn't an extra, it's just how things are. It's the baseline expectation.
So it's not just that they're online, but how institutions should be online too. The sources mention their values, how they view marketing.
Exactly. That's crucial. The HEM source goes into detail. Gen Z values transparency, social impact, and personalization really highly.
Oh.
Way more than previous generations, maybe. And they have this incredibly sensitive radar for anything inauthentic. If your message feels too polished, too staged, or just not genuine, they tune out. Fast. Building trust is everything, which leads to a really, really key point from the sources. Traditional advertising, that old broadcast model, it's just way less effective with this group. One study in the HEM source found that 44%, nearly half, make decisions based on influencer recommendations, not traditional ads.
Wow, 44%, relying on influencers over actual ads.
Yeah.
That really changes the game, doesn't it?
It's a massive shift in who holds influence. And if you connect that back to your strategy as a marketer, it means the pivot isn't just about using digital channels. It's about fundamentally changing how you communicate. You build trust by being relevant, being responsive, and being, real. The sources all point towards genuine connection, often peer-to-peer, being more valuable than slick production now.
Okay, so we understand the student profile, better digital native, values authenticity, influenced by peers. Let's talk tactics.
Yeah.
How are institutions actually reaching them effectively? It sounds like just one channel won't cut it.
Definitely not. The HEM source and others too really emphasize that you need a multi-channel strategy. It's about blending your strong online presence with smart on-campus touchpoints, making it feel cohesive. So looking at the digital site specifically, a few things really stand out as non-negotiable. First, social media. No surprise there. It's described as the absolute heartbeat of student communication. And within social, short-form video, TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, that's the dominant format. It's that quick, snackable content Gen Z prefers. R&L and HEM both stress this. And think about this. 2/3 of teenagers use TikTok. If you are not there in some capacity, you're missing a huge chunk of your audience. It's pretty foundational now.
Any examples of this working well?
Yeah, the sources give some great ones. Oxford University used TikTok really effectively for their online open days, using student ambassadors to give that authentic feel. And Lancaster University had this social media campaign for a graduate program. It didn't just meet its lead gen goals, it smashed them. Exceeded them by 207%, that's according to HM and advanced education. That kind of ROI, hard to argue with.
Whoa, over 200%. That really drives home the potential, doesn't it? If you do it right.
It absolutely does. And it connects perfectly to the next really crucial tactic mentioned, authentic influencer content. because students trust their peers more than they trust institutions directly. Using current student ambassadors or maybe relevant micro-influencers isn't just a nice to have, it's core. It builds credibility. Barnell and Hem both strongly recommend this. There's an example from John Cabot University where their student ambassador program is deeply woven into their recruitment efforts. It's about giving prospects that relatable voice.
Okay, let's shift slightly. What about when students are actively looking for information, searching online? That brings us to SEO, search engine optimization. How big a piece is that?
Oh, it's absolutely critical. The EAB source has this really powerful statistic. 81% of students at a college website helped them decide if a school was the right fit. 81%. So your website isn't just informational, it's a primary decision-making tool. But if they can't find your site or the right info on it when they search, you're not even in the running for that decision. The EAB source does a really good job breaking down search strategy. It talks about the difference between branded keyword searches with your institution's name, like Bayer University admissions.
People who already know you.
Exactly. And non-branded keywords. These are the broader searches, like best engineering colleges in Georgia. And understanding why both matter is key. Branded terms. They capture high-intent users, people already looking for you. Optimizing for these also helps you control what shows up in those AI search summaries, make sure the info is right. Non-branded terms, though, that's how you reach new audiences. People earlier in their journey just exploring options. And the potential search volume there is huge.
So branded for the warm leads, non-branded for discovery. Makes sense.
Precisely. And EAB showed the impact with data. Sure, branded terms drive most of the direct traffic consistently, but in their study, non-branded terms still brought in 7% of traffic for a smaller school and a really significant 26% for a larger one.
26%. That's a quarter of their traffic just from those broader searches. That's massive visibility.
It is. It shows the scale of opportunity for discovery. So the takeaway is you need a balanced approach. Optimize for both.
That really connects to something from another source.
Yeah.
That provocative title. If a website launches and no one visits it, did it even matter?
Yeah, that's the next grad source. And it nails the point, doesn't it? Having a great website, fantastic UX, easy to navigate, that's essential. It's your digital front door. But like that source says, it's only half the battle. You absolutely need a smart, data-driven media strategy, including SEO, to drive the right traffic to that amazing site. Otherwise, it's just sitting there.
Okay, so you get them there via search or social. How do you guide them to the next step? Requesting info, applying. That's where calls to action, CTAs, come in, right?
Yes, and the Carnegie source has a really interesting take here. They suggest maybe thinking of CTAs less as a call to action and more like a call to adventure.
A call to adventure, I like that.
Yeah.
Less functional, more engaging.
Exactly. It reframes it, makes it feel like the next exciting step in their journey with your institution. And the data they share on what makes CTAs effective, it's really eye-opening. Get this. Personalized CTAs perform 202% better than generic ones.
Yeah.
Just using a button instead of a text link, that boosts clicks by 45%. Placement matters hugely too. Above the fold gets 73% visibility, below only 44%. And maybe the most surprising one. Center-aligned CTAs in some tests got over 680% more clicks than left-aligned ones.
680%. That's not a small tweak. That's a massive difference in performance.
It really is. These aren't minor optimizations, and the source gives really practical tips based on this. Vary your language. Start your journey is more compelling than just learn more. Segment CTAs show different ones to prospects versus inquiries, make it relevant. Keep forms short, especially at first contact. Place them strategically above the fold, centered maybe. Use sticky navigation on landing pages so the CTA is always visible. Always use buttons. And importantly, don't be shy. Use them across all your marketing, not just the website. Social posts, emails, ads, everywhere.
So make it clear, make it compelling, make it easy to find, and repeat the invitation often.
That's the essence of it. Offer those calls to adventure regularly and make them make sense in context. Oh, and while we're talking digital channels, the Haim source also reminds us not to forget the basics like email and text. Email's still crucial for formal comms, nurturing leads, and text alerts. If you get permission and use them sparingly for really timely, valuable stuff, super effective. High open rates. They mention UT Austin's Healthy Horns STXT program wellness tips via text. Shows it's not just for admissions deadlines.
Okay, that's a lot on the digital front. But what about the physical campus? Does on-campus advertising still have a role to play, or is it all digital now?
According to the Haim source, definitely still relevant, especially for promoting campus events, building that sense of community, reinforcing your brand physically for visitors and current students. The trick is to make it feel modern and, crucially, integrate it with your digital efforts.
How does that look in practice?
Well, examples include using digital billboards on campus, not just static ones. Putting QR codes prominently on printed posters so people can immediately scan and get info or sign up. Tabling events still work, especially with good visuals and maybe some giveaways. Students always appreciate free stuff. Using campus media, the student paper, radio, posting flyers in high-traffic spots like dorms and academic buildings. San Diego State gets a mention for doing this well.
So it's about being visible physically, but always linking back to the digital action.
Exactly. And the source even floats ideas like guerrilla campaigns. Think like temporary chalk art promoting an event, or maybe even a flash mob, things that create buzz.
A flash mob for admissions. I'd get attention.
It would.
Yeah.
And more importantly, it gets students talking and posting about it online, so it amplifies itself. The main point is, on-campus stuff isn't separate. It boosts your digital campaigns, reinforces the message, provides tangible touch points, drives traffic online, and for promoting specific events on campus, they suggest a multi-channel push. Start with a strong hook. What's the value for the student? Tap into peer networks, use hashtags, ask professors to announce it, use the official school app, and make signups dead simple QR codes everywhere. Easy online RSVP buttons. Reduce friction.
Okay, that makes sense. Shifting gears again, but still thinking about reaching the right people. The sources really stress moving beyond just broad marketing, the need to target specific audiences.
Yes, this is absolutely critical. The student population is more diverse than ever. The RNL source points out that you really need tailored strategies for different groups: Hispanic students, African-American students, first-generation students. They even highlight simple things like not having materials available in Spanish as a major missed opportunity to connect effectively.
And another huge segment needing a very specific approach is international students, right? The Manana Ferris source seemed to dive deep into that.
Extremely deep, and for good reason. Generic marketing just falls flat when you're competing for, 1.1 million international students, considering the U.S. That's the figure for Manafera. You have to be specific. One of the most valuable things in that source is the breakdown of the international student journey. It's long and complex. Starts with exploration, like 12 to 24 months out. Then consideration, 14 months. Evaluation, 5 to 9 months. Application, 3 to 8 months. And finally, the decision phase, 1 to 4 months before they actually enroll. Understanding that timeline is absolutely non-negotiable. You need to hit them with the right info at the right stage.
That is a much longer runway than many domestic students. And the phases are quite distinct.
They are, and it demands very specific tactics. Manafera lays out a whole suite of them. Things like audience-segmented digital campaigns that go way beyond just country. Think segmenting by region within a country, program interest STEM versus business, for example, maybe even financial capacity. Tailoring your ads and message for, say, Indian students looking at engineering is far more powerful than a generic international student ad.
So hyper-personalization,
Yeah.
but on a global scale.
Kind of, yeah. Then there's international SEO. That means technical stuff, like rayflang tags for different language versions of your site. Optimizing for local search engines Baidu in China, Naver in South Korea, and crucially, creating localized content that answers market-specific questions and matches their stage in the journey, not just translating your U.S. site that often misses the mark culturally. Just like domestic students, trust is huge for international prospects. So influencer and alumni ambassador programs are incredibly powerful. Using current international students or alumni from specific target regions, that provides authenticity that families really trust. Way more than marketing copy. A global ambassador program is mentioned as a concrete example.
That peer validation again.
Exactly, and because of distance, virtual experiences are obviously key, but they need to be optimized. Scheduled for different time zones, provide recordings, tailor the content. Don't just do a generic virtual tour. Offer program sessions with faculty, regional student panels. Also, culturally adaptive communication. Channel preferences vary wildly. Email might be standard here, but maybe WeChat is dominant in China, WhatsApp in India or Latin America. You need to know and use the right channels. And often you need a plan for communicating with parents too.
Can't just rely on email then.
Definitely not. Then there's personalized digital advertising with progressive messaging. This means phased campaigns, awareness, then consideration, then conversion. Use targeting and retargeting to show increasingly specific messages as they move along that long journey. Static ads just won't cut it. And finally, a big one, Data-driven financial aid and scholarship marketing. Scholarships are the top thing international prospects look for, 34% according to Manifera. But schools often market them poorly. You need clear, dedicated scholarship pages, easy to find eligibility info, maybe country-specific cost calculators, stories of international recipients, and promote this info early in the funnel, not just at the end. Be specific. Avoid vague phrases like scholarships available.
That level of detail for just one segment, international students, really highlights how crucial precision and data are becoming across the board.
It really does. And underpinning all of that, especially international where the investment is higher, is the absolute necessity of data and measurement. Manifer really stresses going beyond just vanity metrics. You need to track cost per inquiry, cost per applicant, cost per enrolled student, broken down by country and by channel. That means solid CRM integration, using UTM tracking consistently, maybe multi-touch attribution to see what's really working. They even suggest a process. Prioritize just 2-3 key markets to focus on deeply, rather than trying a scattergun approach everywhere.
It's so clear from everything we've covered across all these sources. Data isn't just for reporting after the fact anymore. It has to be foundational to the whole strategy to optimization. Bring it back to the big picture then. For everyone in higher ed marketing, the core message seems to be constant adaptation.
Absolutely. The R&L source sums it up nicely. The key areas institutions have to adapt in are deepening personalization, mastering digital marketing, truly leveraging data analytics, refining their brand story, integrating new tech, AI, chatbots, maybe VR down the line, and crucially, fostering that deep, authentic engagement, especially with Gen Z. And yeah, the sources hint at emerging trends too. More AI for personalization, definitely. The continued dominance of short-form video, maybe more immersive VR campus tours in the future, and even marketing around micro-credentials as education itself evolves.
It really paints a picture of a field that's not just changing, it's constantly innovating. It demands marketers be incredibly strategic, adaptable, and responsive.
That's a perfect summary.
So thinking about all this material you shared, I mean, from the big shifts in demographics and tech to really understanding digital natives like Gen Z, nailing down channels like social video, SEO, CTAs, integrating the physical and digital, getting hyper-specific for key groups like international students, and underpinning it all with data.
Wow, there's definitely a lot for you, the listener, to chew on. There really is. And perhaps the core challenge that emerges from all these sources, now that technology offers this incredible power for personalization and global reach, the real test for marketers like you isn't just adopting the newest tool, it's making sure that as you scale everything up, your message stays genuinely authentic, that it clearly reflects your institution's values, that it truly connects as the unique adventure you offer to each prospective student. So maybe the question to take back to your daily work is this: how do you strike that critical balance between leveraging the efficiency and scale of technology while still maintaining that deeply human, authentic connection that today's students not only prefer but actually demand?